Hello, I'm John Benson, and I'm going to talk a little bit today about The Magicians. There are 5 seasons so far. I don't know if they've finished it, probably. Uh, it's a show that is about a group of supposedly college age people. They appear to be a little bit older than that, who go to this place to break bills, or at least that's the way the story starts. Um, it starts introducing to a character, Quentin, and really, most of the story could be, oh, this is just one of his hallucinations, or he is in some sort of psychiatric care, and this could be all his fantasy. But um, who knows? It doesn't really matter. There will be spoilers in this. Season 5 is fairly recent, and I do tend to talk about these shows without revealing too much. But it's up to you if you want to chance it or not, because there very well could be some big spoilers. I don't know, but I tend to talk generally, and generally, this show, it's a good show. I watched it. I watched it from the beginning through the end. It's an enjoyable show to watch. There are some enjoyable characters. There's some enjoyable relationships. There are some little things that they do in it that are interesting enough to keep watching it. But the majority of the show isn't exactly like that. There are the production values are good, but they're not great. The acting's good, but it's not great. The writing's good, but not great. So it's all fine, and I enjoyed watching all of the seasons, but I sort of enjoy this genre. I've and, and I've watched many other fantasy and sci-fi or whatever other types of shows that are like this, whether it be Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Harry Potter or whatever. But Buffy and Harry Potter are both much better than The Magicians. Um, the Magicians, it seemed at times to know its limitations, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed that very much. I thought that was one of, that's good writing. That's one of the better ways to write, to when you understand, when you can um, sort of self-evaluate, which is not easy to do in writing or any story. So, like I said, there's certain things that they do well that are fun enough, like that. I don't mean for this to be so boring. It really wasn't that boring of a show. If you like the genre, go ahead and watch it. Um, it's fine. Just because it isn't the best of the best, so what? There's tons of stories and shows out there, and we don't always watch all the best ones. I I suppose I went on about that because there are many series I don't watch. There's so much I don't watch. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. Um, when I do, I pick a series and I try to watch it. Um, there have been many that I have not been able to watch for one reason or another. There's first of all, for a show to even interest me is most don't by far more than 50%. So I've already weeded out most. Um, and then when I start a show, there are many things that will make me cut it off for whatever reason. Um, whether there's one series that I really actually wanted to watch. It was based on the works of Philip K. Dick, who is one of my favorite authors. Again, I love the genre, sci-fi, fantasy, those sorts of things. The reason I couldn't watch it is that it kept doing these loud noises or these ringing noises to let you know that somebody was in pain or how horrible this was or whatever else, to inflict pain on me. Inflicting pain on me as the audience is not a good way for me to. I get you want to demonstrate it as a show, but it doesn't work for me. I don't need to feel the pain. I don't, and I will turn it off. Uh, Most people I don't think are as sensitive as me, so it's probably fine for most people, but it isn't fine for me. And well, it's not just the sound that I find annoying, which I do, but the whole idea that a writer or a show would inflict pain on its audience. I don't get it. I don't know what you're trying to do by doing that. There was one movie, Pi, that did it right. They did it great. They had that noise or tone, and it was annoying, but it let you know that the main character guy was having a migraine. That's a migraine tone. It was somewhat of annoying, like a migraine, but it really was worked well with the story and the whole sound of the whole movie and everything. They got it right. It's very hard to do, especially for me. I wouldn't recommend anybody doing it, or just the whole idea of inflicting pain on your audience. It's not going to work for me. So more into the magicians. It follows characters. There is Quentin and Julia. Those are the first two that you meet. Quentin's fairly annoying, and Julia is too, and gets more annoying throughout the show. But there's some small endearing parts to them, so okay, you keep watching it. And then you meet better characters. There's Penny and Alice and Elliot and Josh and Margot. I wrote those down this time. I hardly ever do that, but I decided to this time. Anyway, Elliot, I think, is the best character. I'm not sure about the best actor, but he often gets good lines, and so it in ways that works. I mean, for his character is somewhat of the roguish one, and he's going to get good roguish lines, which are fun. If you don't like on-screen sexuality or homosexuality, if you're somewhat of a homophobe, this is not the show for you. There is many on-screen male, or even whatever, female, PDA. Whatever, it was fine with me. I certainly enjoyed the way that they did it too, as in, it didn't matter. It didn't matter whether it was heterosexual or homosexual. They were just showing a relationship. It didn't matter. Fine. Good. One of those things that it did well, and it had that sensibility about it, which I enjoyed. Penny is a very good character, good actor, and each of them, brought something to the show. And they did well with it. There's they do these magic things, and some of these things that they do with their hands to do magic. I'm not going to do most of it, but whatever. Watch the show. It to a point, it's kind of fun. Like, oh, okay. Show kind of has its own rules about magic and fantasy, and this is one of them, and it's kind of fun the way they do it to a point, and then afterwards it gets kind of ridiculous. They always have kind of trouble with this whole fantasy thing because some of it is very childish, and that is part of the writing and show. I mean, there's this alternate reality fillery, which is a fairy book land, very like child book-ish. And so they play around with that. So again, it's a good way they've written it to give a little bit more leeway into the writing. So when I watched it, I was wondering about doing this sort of review about it at all, because I certainly don't want to just sit and rant about poor things or poor writing or poor acting, because there were certainly moments of those things with virtually every character. Um, Somewhat poor acting or somewhat poor writing. Um, but so what? It was still fun. The whole show was fun. They maybe did a little bit too much singing. They I know shows want to bring some singing in. Um, it can be very difficult to do. They do it okay sometimes, and sometimes it really. I was almost fast forwarding. I did fast forward through one song, the Ramones song. I love the Ramones. That cast singing the Ramones was so wrong. It just it 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 really was not good. So I fast forwarded through that. I think that's the only thing I fast forwarded through. Everything else was fine. So there's some things that were a little cringy about some of the music, but it was still fun, and they were having fun, so fine. Um, the other thing they do with the hedge witches is fun. Uh, some of these ideas that they have between the institutional magic, the people that are within the system, and then they have these hedge witches who are outside of the system. That was a fun dynamic to have, and they do set up other fun dynamics. Fillory's a fun dynamic, but also the ethereal plane or wherever and the library is a fun dynamic, and they even have the underworld, the afterlife as a small dynamic in it, and that's I mean, some of it is okay. And they also do these things with alternate timelines. It's all sort of fun, but it all kind of does get scattered at times. It's kind of tough to rein in writing wise. At the end, they try to wrap it all up. It's whatever. Um, they had characters die or become other things, and then get brought back in many different ways. Okay, I mean, there was times it got very soap opera like that, but for the most part, not. It was very much a serial. They didn't. It wasn't. I mean, even though it was seasons and episodes, you very much needed to know what happened in the prior episodes to be able to follow along with the story, which is fine. That's the way most shows are done now. Um, so it was good. They did a good job with it. I would recommend it. I had fun watching it. It certainly wouldn't be on anything that I would think would be the best. It wouldn't be something that I think would be studied in the future as a TV show or as writing. But so what? It was fun. It's fun enough to watch, and well, it's kind of date nighty too. It was fun to watch with a partner, whoever that may be, or partners, and because that doesn't matter, and enjoy to watch it. It's kind of fun in the way that it will bring up things that you could talk about in relationships, because there are many different relationships on there in this, and they break up and go with different characters, and there's all these intermixings. So there's different things to pick up on and talk about as far as relationship stuff, and so great. All right, well, that's me talking about The Magicians, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching the show. Feel free to make any comments you like in the comment section down below. To discuss this more is always more fun for me too, and these and my other videos. So hope to hear from you. Thank you very much. Bye.